Hey, what's up? David here with After Effects, and welcome to the first tutorial of 2021. Today we're going to be learning how to composite this Ferrari inside of After Effects, and as a bonus, we're going to be learning how to motion track this using Blender. And it's a pretty cool tutorial, pretty simple setup in After Effects, but a little bit more complex in Blender. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at what we're going to be creating. Alrighty, so first things first, open up Blender and this is your UI. So we're going to go into the movie clip editor and we're going to open our footage and we'll just import our clip like that, and you can see our clip is imported, and we got here some of the settings of our clip. So it's full HD and 30 frames per second. So I'm just going to set C frames and prefetch it. This will bake the frames so that it will play in real time. So just give that a minute. Okay, now that our clip here is all baked up, let's go ahead and just export this as a image sequence. So first things first, let's go into the Compositing tab and let's use nodes, and we'll just delete this and we'll grab in the movie clip and we'll set this into the composite. Click our movie clip and we'll get a viewer. Oh no, not that one. And we'll just put this in here. Yep, and if we hit V, that'll zoom out so we can see it. And let's go back into our layout and let's go into our output properties and let's just save our file destination and let's just accept it here, and we'll make it a JPEG sequence, and we'll make it quality 9% is fine, and color RGB, and then we'll just hit Control F12 and that'll just render the frames. So just give that a minute. Alright, so once your render is complete, we can go ahead and make a new file project, and we don't really need to save this. So let's go and add in a motion tracking tab. Let's open up our image sequence. Alright, so here it is. So if we just hit A and then open clip, that will just open it up, and we'll obviously set C frames and we'll prefetch it like that, and we're gonna hit normalize. And if we come down here to track settings, we want to make this 0.9. Okay, and let's go ahead and some detect features. This will help it track a little bit. We'll maybe decrease the threshold here so we get more trackers, and we'll make the distance about 20, and we'll set this to perspective, and if we just hit A to select all the trackers and hit Control T, that should track the scene here. Okay, so as you can see, our tracking data is done, and as you can see, it's not very clean track for majority of the trackers. Most of the trackers are somewhere up in these high contrast areas, which I understand because they're very high in contrast, but not on the road. And unfortunately for me, I need some trackers on the road so that I can build a floor plane and just get my X and Y axes in the correct 3D world space. So I'm going to have to manually hand track some of these. Alright, so let's first things first, let's Alt D, and that'll hide some of the trackers tracked properly. And let's just go over here and let's go into, let's just solve the camera motion, and let's make it focal length K1, K2, 300, and let's just solve camera motion. And as you can see, it's 0.31, which is really good, but I need some camera trackers on the floor plane. So I'm just going to clean this up. So clean up, clean tracks. Let's go with, where do most of the tracks end? So somewhere about, looks like 60 frame mark. So let's clean tracks. Let's delete the tracks, tracked frames, 65. Okay, and I'll delete the tracking markers that were tracked for 60 frames. Okay, so let's go ahead and just zoom in here and see what I can track. So what I can do is hold Control and left click, and if we hit Alt S, that'll bring up the search area. So it's basically like motion tracking in After Effects. Hit G and we just move this along, scale it up a bit, maybe shrink this search area a bit, and maybe one here, and just scale that up. Okay, and if we just select both of them, and if we track backwards, so the shortcut key that for that is Control Shift T. Okay, and if we go back forward and we hit Control T. Okay, so that track marker looked okay, and for this one, let's just keep going until kind of went everywhere. Okay, so for this one, we hit page down, and we can just move this track mark here. So if you just hit G, it will just reappear, and we hit Control T again, and there we go. That should have done some tracking. And we'll probably just get one more somewhere around here, which is a high contrast area. It's pretty difficult. There's not much on offer here. Let's see how it is. Okay, I can't really find any good track points, so this will have to do for now. It's not too bad. So let's clean this up a little bit. So I want tracked frames, probably about like what, 250, and then we'll just delete the tracked. Okay, so you can see these two track points fade out after a while. What is it? Maybe 290. And this one, and just delete those track points. And let's try solve camera motion again. Okay, our pixel's gone worse, so we're gonna have to delete some of these track points. So come down to info. Let's have a look here. So these track points look pretty good. Let's have a look. This one's pretty bad, so let's delete it. I kind of need these two track points, unfortunately. Let's delete this one. It's a bit of a tricky one, this is. Let's just keep searching, eyeballing it. We can delete this track point. Let's try to solve that. Okay, we're getting better. Let's keep going. Maybe we can delete this one. And we can delete this one. Okay, solve camera motion. Okay, 0.31. I think that's the best I could do in this current situation. There's not much I can do. I really do need those 4 track points. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually I can delete this one. Soft camera motion. There we go. 0.26 is pretty good. I'm happy with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and set up my tracking scene. So there we go. There's my tracking scene up here. I might just get rid of this. I don't really need that. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a floor. So I might make a floor with these 3 points. And let's make a floor with those 3 points. And we'll make this my origin point. And we can even just select 2 of these. And we can set the distance up to maybe like 3 and set scale. That way we can get some distance. Alright, so I want my x-axis to be maybe up here. Yeah, that'll work, and I could just hit R and just rotate it a little bit to match up with my scene here. Like that, and hit G, move across like that. Okay. Maybe I'll set this as my x-axis, like that. Yep, that looks good. Alright, so let's go back into the layout. And if we come over here, we can now see my track scene is all well in place. So let's just move this above my plane here, and let's just move this into here. And let's go into the Compositing tab. And let's just delete all this junk. And delete that. And let's just grab a alpha over. This will help us composite the alpha in the foreground and background elements. So let's just connect all these up. And nothing's happening. That's okay, because we haven't rendered the scenes yet. So if we go into the rendered view, and let's go into the render properties and go into film and click transparent. And we'll work in cycles and hit the GPU. There we go. And we're going to even just scale this down a bit. Okay, G. Yeah, like that. Alright, let's go back into render view. And we can just even delete the background element. So we only have the foreground, and we can hit F12. Like that. And we come back here, we can set the scene, and there we go. There is our composite. Alright, so with our ground plane, what I want to do is maybe just maybe squeeze it in here. Oh, if you hold down the middle mouse button, it will snap to your axes. So yeah, that's a friendly tip that I learned pretty late, but oh well, what can you do? And we'll just scale this up, and we might even move it along the x-axis. Okay. Okay. That's pretty good. Alright, so now we can go ahead and import our Ferrari. So let's go File, Import OBJ, and let's import this. Take some time. And it's in our background, so we just put it in our foreground element. And it's pretty big, so we need to scale this really down quite a lot. Okay, let's go back in here, and we can just scale it up and a suitable size like that. And we might even just Bring it down a little bit. Lighting's a bit off, so that's okay.